Okay, good morning everybody, and Hazak Baruch. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Wednesday morning as we are studying together Perashat Haye Sara. Of course, our Perasha in it, my friends, deals with the topic of Shidduchim, of dating advice. I'd like to share with you today some nuggets and beautiful gems, advice for those that are in the Parasha of Shidduchim, those that are dating. Let's see what Rabbi Haye has to advise us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol niyeh baro. First piece of advice when it comes to marriage is don't do it. No, I'm kidding. Okay, fine. Here we go. Everyone ready? Everyone ready? Excuse me, I apologize for that. Here we go. Ve'Avraham zaken ba bayamim v'Adonai berach et Avraham bakol. Avraham is getting older, and it's time for him to march his kids down the aisle. Vayomer Avraham calls over his Zekan Beto, HaMoshe Bechol Asher Lo. We know who is that? Eliezer. He calls over Eliezer. He says, I need you to swear to me that you're not going to take a wife for Yitzchak from here. You know, Eliezer is the first matchmaker. And Eliezer, being a matchmaker, he tells him, go out and get a wife, but not from here. Rather, El Artzi ve'el molati telech. Go to my country, go to where I was born. And go find from there a wife for Yitzchak. Of course, we know this paragraph is actually interestingly read. It's read when a Hatan gets married. In our community, at least, I don't know what the other communities do. But on the Sheva Brachot, on the Sebit of the Hatan, when he goes up for the Aliyah, we read this for him. Okay? And I'd like to share with you today what Rabbi Haye has to offer about dating. My friends, take a look at this, and if you are married, it doesn't matter. It's still going to help you. If you are not married, then it's for sure going to help you. And if you are married, then share this with someone who is not married, because this is really, really helpful advice. Rabbi Haye, you would think that he lived today. Brilliant, simple advice when it comes to dating. And it's really all from our Torah. It's all here. So my friend, let's begin on this amazing journey, and let's read the words of Rabbi Haye together and translate and see what amazing words he has to share with us about dating. He tells him, Asher lo tekach isha lebni mebenot haKena'ani. Number one, you will not take a wife for my son from amongst the daughters of Canaan. His hiro b'shvu'ah. Avraham makes Eliezer swear to him that he will not take a daughter from Canaan which is corrupt. Why? Because the wife, muchenet lepuranut, when a wife is predestined for destruction, if the lady is not strong in her ways, in her values, in her kindness, tate et ha'adam letzida, she will drag her husband in the same direction. Because after all, this is precisely what the mother of all human beings did. She ate from the tree and she gave her husband. I ain't gonna die. If I'm dying, you're coming down with me. And so Chava makes sure to give Adam from the fruit. And so, Kemoshe Yadua Minyan Shlomo, we know similarly from Shlomo HaMelech, Benashim Nochriyot, all the women that he married. Shenasa Amoniot, Moaviyot, Sidoniot, Chitiyot. He married different religions, alien women. Ha'id alav HaKatuv, and the Pasuk testifies in the Kings 1, chapter 11. Nashav Hitu et Levavo. And they turned his heart away. Shlomo HaMelech, as much as there is to say about him positive, Shlomo HaMelech also unfortunately fell tremendously, and it's debatable if he even came back at the end of his life or not. And therefore, number one, when Abraham's looking for a wife, he tells him, and by the way, who are we talking about over here? We're talking about a kid who's on borderline addiction. We're talking about a kid who's struggling with his Judaism, who's having a hard time connecting to God. We're talking about Yitzchak, my friends. Yitzchak, does it get better than him? Yitzchak Avinu, strong, connected, devoted, committed, righteous, religious, all the words you want. And nonetheless, Avraham Avinu knows, as big as Yitzchak is, and he's 40, he's not 5, 10, 15, he's not a kid. I got married, I was a baby. I wasn't allowed to drink alcohol at my wedding, put it that way. I kid you not, I was not allowed to drink alcohol at my wedding legally, okay? I was under 21. I'm not saying I didn't drink, but I wasn't allowed to. But either way, Avraham Avinu, he's finding a wife for a 40-year-old mature Yitzchak. And what does he say? We got to make sure that the wife is strong, because if she's not, she's going to pull him down. The wife is the house, my friends. The wife is the bait. She builds, right? Behind every successful man is a surprise mother-in-law. Okay. Behind every successful man is a strong woman. The wife, she builds the home, she builds the husband. It's all her. You have to know that. And therefore, when a lady's not strong, she drags her husband down with him. And therefore the custom, my friends, when a guy gets married, whether it's on the day of the wedding or the Shabbat that he goes up, like we just spoke about, to remind the people, be careful, we tell the Chatan, I don't know, maybe it's too late on the Sabbath to tell him this, but maybe it's not really for him. The guy who's already married, it's too late for you. But we read it out loud to remind all the other bachelors in the room. Be careful when you're getting married. When you're marrying a girl, and vice versa, you shouldn't look for looks. After all, the pasuk does say, Sheker achen vehevel hayofi isha yirat Adonai hi tetalal, right? Sheker achen, or if you're Ashkenaz, Sheker achen vehevel hayofi, right? Isha yiras Hashem hi tetalal. So Sheker achen, Shlomo HaMelech here is telling us, my friends, good looks, it's nonsense. It's all hevel. Because after all, looks are temporary. Then people get older, the guy loses his hair, the girl gets pregnant, and where are all the looks? Of course you need to have attraction, and I'm the first to say it. Do not walk down the aisle if you're not attracted. Actually, the halakha says it. You're not allowed to marry a girl if you're not attracted to her. You're not allowed to marry a girl if you didn't first see her. That's why the Hasidim, even though they have prearranged marriages, at the L'chaim, families are there ready to wish them Mazal Tov. They throw them into a room for the first time. Nice to meet you. They talk for a few minutes, and they go out. Mazal Tov, we're engaged, right? It's not all Hasidim, but some Hasidim, they do this. And by the way, I'm not saying that I suggest this, but the divorce rate is very, very, very low in their communities, in their worlds. Okay? It's actually interesting that the world that we live in, the divorce rate, and you could say about whatever you want about the system, but the divorce rate in the world that we live in is 49%. Factor in now second marriages and third marriages, which the stats do not calculate. If you factor in second and third marriages, the divorce rate is over 70% in America. 70, not 17. 70%. The odds are stacked against you if you're getting married. So all of the dating and going out and living together and testing the waters and doing whatever you want clearly doesn't work. Okay, they haven't produced successful marriages. They haven't produced healthy, normal, happy children. So the Torah says, what should you look for? Number one, looks is not one of them. You need to be attracted. You have to see her. But that shouldn't be the reason that you're getting married. Velo l'shem mamon. Number two, you shouldn't get married because of money. You shouldn't get married because of money. Now again, there's a big difference between having money or wanting money and being a gold digger. Okay? A gold digger, a lot of girls want to know, am I a gold digger if I want a guy to support me and give me? The answer is yes. No kidding. The answer is, well, it depends. Right? What do you call a gold digger in Asia? Cha-ching. Okay, fine. Either way, I'm sorry about that. A gold digger, my friends, is someone, there's nothing wrong with a girl wanting financial stability, security. That's needed. You're supposed to want that. You need to know your husband's going to take care of you. Okay? But a person has to be honest with themselves and know the difference between necessities and extras, needs and wants. Okay? What do you need and what do you want? It's expected that your husband should give you what you need. But you have to be honest. There's a big difference between needs and wants. Okay? And if you want a lot of things that are not needs, then you need to realize that you can't expect your husband to necessarily provide that for you. And it's also very important that when you're dating, just be open about what you're expecting. You know, I grew up, we went on 2 vacations a year. I grew up, my mother never had to prepare for Pesach. We always went on a program. I grew up and we got every year my mother got another piece of jewelry. And this is what I'm expecting from you. You need to be open. You need to have that conversation. You know, the guy grew up in a family that the mother saved every penny she got because it was more important for her to be able to give her kids later on in life and etc. You know, so have that conversation. But don't get married for money, my friends. Ki hamamon, look at this very nice line. Aseh ya'aseh lo knafayim. Somehow, wealth develops wings and tends to fly off just like an eagle. Kenesher ya'uf hashamayim. Money comes and money goes. Okay, as the saying goes. Money comes and money goes. So you have it today, it's gone tomorrow. Don't marry someone for their money. Velo l'shem shirrat hakerovim. Oh boy. So, number 1, if you got married for looks, no good. Okay? Number 2, you got married for money, no good. Number 3, you get married because you want to be part of a family that's powerful, influential. And you hope that by marrying into this chashuv family status, now I'm going to make it in my career. That's also very bad advice. Bad idea. You know, marry someone with connections, protectia. Very bad idea. You know, the grooms are going to be punished. It's not going to work out well for you. I know a guy, he married a very, very powerful family in the world, and it actually came back to haunt him, because when they got in a fight and they decided to get divorced, and opposite, all of that power was used against him, and the guy's life is destroyed. Aval yitztarech, my friends, rather, says Rabbeinu Haye, you need shetihiyeh kavanato l'shem shamayim. When looking for a wife, you need to be sincere. Sheidvek b'mishpaha haguna, you should look for a good family, not a powerful family. That's a difference. Good doesn't mean wealthy. Good doesn't mean influential. Good doesn't mean status. How many people go out with a good family? But good family. But they don't have maybe the money. They're not invited to the certain weddings, to the destinations. They don't live on a certain block, or their last name is not this, or their background is not that, or they're, Halabi, Lebanese, Shemi, Mishari, Tehrani, right? Whatever it is, all the Annies. And says Rabbeinu Haye, status, when you're looking for status, it's not a reason to break up. Lefisha habanim, rather, you need to look for a good family. What does that mean, good? Good family, good character, good people, good values. Lefi, because shehabanim nimshachim bemidotehem, you need to know that the children, your children, my friends, will be drawn, in the majority of cases, to the character ashahar mishpahat ha'im, to the character of the wife's, the mother's family. The Gemara even tells us that when you get married, you should look into her brothers. Because whatever her brothers are like, that's what probably she's used to. That's probably how she's going to raise your kids. You need to look into the family. What do they like? What do they value? Kiken teva bayayin. Wine, the nature of wine, my friends. Liot ta'amo, the flavor. Nimshach ahar hakli asher amad betocho. The wine will pick up the flavor of the vessel that was in. So you need to know who's your wife's family. This person that you're dating, what do they like? And by the way, Avraham Avinu, when he sends Eliezer, he makes sure not to get a girl from here. You know why? Look at this. Kli Yakar says, because if the girl is from here, every other Shabbat she's going to be by her family. And Avraham knew that to build Ummah Yisraeli, to build the Jewish people, you're starting right now, there's no other family really. We're going to pick the best that there is, but even the best that there is very far from Avraham's vision. And therefore Abraham knows, take a girl from far and bring her here. This way she doesn't spend the Shabbat. She doesn't go over on a Sunday. She doesn't go over for the weekdays. Keep her far from the influence. I don't want my kids hanging out every weekend by the grandparents on the other side. So he made sure to get a girl from far on purpose to bring her all the way here. Unbelievable. So, says Rabbeinu Haye, don't look for money, don't look for looks, don't look for status. You need good family. Ve'od. And furthermore, and we read this out loud on Shabbat. Why do we read it out loud for? Because we're reminding all of the other people that are there, all the bachelors, listen to what Avraham did when looking for a wife. Ve'od yesh b'perasha zo azhara. There's another warning, my friends. Le'adam, that a person, she'yisa isha, my friends, you need to hear this. This is as crazy as it gets. I'm telling you, you would think he was around today witnessing the shidduch crisis, the problems in marriages, shalom bayit. He says there's a warning here. Le'adam she'yisa isha mibenot mishpachto. When you select a bride, try to make sure that she's as close to your family as possible. V'sheyidabek bikrovotav, as closely related. Obviously, avoiding incest, but as close to your kind. Ki ken asa Avraham, because this is what Avraham did. Shne'emar, like he said, el artzi ve'el molati telech. He tells Eliezer, go to my land, my people. Lekachta isha lebni leYitzchak. Go to my father's house. Pick a girl from one of my family members. V'chen Amram. Similarly, Amram. Katuv bo, it says, Vayelech ish mebat Levi vayikach et bat Levi. A man from Levi went and married a girl from Levi. What does that mean? Because you need to be someone very similar. Look at this, he explains. Kashabriyot mizdavgot. When people intermarry, kol ehad ve'ehad el mino, when you marry someone with your own kind, someone that you already have a natural affinity, hashalom mitkayem umitrabe ba'olam, then the likelihood of shalom is big, right? Not only between husband and wife, but even between the members of the family. It's enhanced. They're like us. There's a big chance of shalom happening. But when you marry someone who's not in your circles, someone different, if she's lower, then he's going to be very arrogant. I'm jet set, you're not. He's going to have a certain haughtiness. Sfaradi, you're this, or I'm that, you're this, I'm the other one, you're that one. If someone marries a girl from a lower social strata, yagia lo kalon, he'll feel superior to her. It'll lead to bad blood, resentment. Gami misaena lemala midrakato. And if you marry a girl who's higher than you, what do you think is going to happen? Tidga'e alav. Then, she's going to feel superior to you. V'chol yamehem yamdu biktata umriba. Their whole lives be filled with fighting, quarreling. Unbelievable. That means, people usually say marry up. Rabbi Mizrahi says no. Don't marry up, marry the same. Okay, do yourselves a favor? Marry the same. Because if it's up, it's bad for you. If it's down, it's bad for her. Marry the same. Same type, same family, same status. Ukvarim shilu razal, and that's what our rabbis mean when they give the following analogy. Hamishpachot advukot zo im zo, shekulam matimot b'ma'ala shava. That when you marry someone, make sure that they're all part of the same status. Mashal le'in ve'yagefen be'in ve'yagefen. That's what it means. When you say grapevines joining grapevines, davar na'eh u'mitkabel, the pasuk says, are something beautiful and acceptable. If you're a grapevine, then you should look for a grapevine. If you're an apple, you should look for an apple. If you're a cherry, you should look for a cherry. Whatever you are, marry similar as possible. Doesn't mean that if you're dating someone and if you're Sephardic and you're dating an Ashkenaz that it can't work. No, it's not what he's saying. But he's talking about over here, general. In general, try if you can, if it's possible. Of course, the person's dating and they see it's not. Now again, today, also you have to realize, we kind of live in a chillin' pot. Even if you're growing up in a community, but you go out, you go to university, you go to yeshiva, get exposed, and your friends, and right, we don't grow up today in bubbles. Go back 100 years. You grew up in the little halab. This is who you had. You knew only how to talk like this, and everybody. And now you're going to go out there somewhere else. It's going to be difficult. Today, again, we are very diverse, and it's maybe acceptable if you understand the mentality, but in general, because you have to know, my friends, that you're not only marrying a girl, or a guy, you're marrying a family, and you want the families as much as possible to connect. The closer the families are, the more they know each other's way, the better off of a chance you have of shalom. In ve'yagefen, be'in ve'yagefen, grapevines marrying grapevines. But unfortunately, he says, if one is righteous and the other one's not, the pasuk continues, in ve'yagefen ve'in ve'asneh, then you have a grapevine marrying a thorn bush. Davar ka'ur eno mitkabel, very ugly, not going to work out. Ve'alken, and therefore, my friends, ra'ui le'adam, it's very important. She'yisa isha l'shem shamayim. When you marry for the right reasons. Hatovim idveku batovim. You come from good stock, marry good stock, and vice versa. Everyone's going to be drawn and attracted to their type. And he continues over here with more psukim. But what amazing advice, my friends! So powerful, so true. I want to just add one more point for today, and then we'll end. The Kli Yakar, he says, Abraham sends Eliezer to go marry a wife to go find a wife from far, not from here. Go to Israel. No one from Israel. Kli Yakar, he shares over here a gem. Look what he says, my friends. He says, number one, like we said earlier, that if he takes someone from here, she's going to have my family and her family, and she's going to go back and forth, and they're going to influence her. We don't want her to never go there again. Just send a Hanukkah card once every few years, and that's it. Leave us alone. That's Avram's strategizing. But look what, my friends, look at this. Look what he says over here. What I'm about to tell you, I would never say. I don't have the shoulders to say. Rabbeinu Bachya says it. Look at this. He says, well, let's analyze what's going on over here. Avraham doesn't want him to find a girl from here. Why? Because over here, they have idol worship. They do avodah zara. Okay, but one second. Do they not have idol worshipping in back where you come from, Avraham? Weren't you thrown into a fire because you wouldn't bow down to an idol? So again, I just want to understand this. What's so special about where Avraham comes from? So again, you could say it's like him, his family, his type. We're Syrian, we need Syrian. Fine, maybe. Says the Kli Yakar, there's something else. It wasn't just Avodah Zarah. He says, you see, the people of Israel back then, they had bad midot. They had bad character. And he says, and what's the proof? Remember when Avraham comes, what's the first thing they ask him? Who's your wife? Who's the girl? Who's that chick? Who's that girl? That's how you talk to someone? Invite me to come, get a drink. Hey, who's the G? Who's the EJ? That's how you talk. Where's the derech eretz? Where's the respect? They have bad character. And says the Kli Yakar, bad traits, bad character is in the genes. Bad ideology, intellect, avodah zarah, that's bad intellect. But that's not in the genes. Those aren't inherited. Bad traits are inherited. There's something called epigenetics. Okay, look it up. You could inherit not only the color of eye and hair and height, you could inherit genes, midot, character. Genes are inherited. Character, is inherited. But intellect is not. And therefore Avraham Avinu says, and we'll get to why in a second, but Avraham says, don't take a girl from here because the girls here, they inherited not only bad ideology, they inherited bad midot. They have bad character they inherited. I'd much rather you go where I came from. Even if they have avodah zarah, even if they have bad ideology, but at least they're good people. See, Avraham would rather a mensch over frum. He would rather someone with good character than someone who's religious. To Avraham, religion meant nothing if you don't have good character. The people in Israel, doesn't matter how religious they are, but if they're not good people, I don't want a wife from here. I want a wife from where I came. Maybe they do avodah zarah. Maybe they're krum. Maybe they're bad. They have bad ideology. But Avraham says it doesn't matter. Ideology you could change. Bad character, very hard to change. Once a girl is raised, once a boy is raised in a certain way, 10, 15, 20 years, and they witnessed at the home, and they grew up in a house of anger, they grew up in a house of always fighting, they grew up in a house of selfish. When you live a certain way, my friends, Avraham Avinu is realistic, he knows, very hard to change that. I'd rather a girl that bows to idols, but she's a good person, than a girl who is religious, but she has bad character. If I had to pick one over the other, my friends, do you hear what Kli Yakar is saying? Is this not... What? Hello? Are you not bugging out right now? That's what he says. Because the body, the genes, where do they come from? The parents. We know a child has three partners. Creating a kid, there's three partners. The father, the mother, and Hashem. The father and the mother, they give the body. Hashem gives the soul, the intellect. The intellect comes from Hashem, so I don't care how bad was the intellect of the parents. They could have worshipped idols. Doesn't mean the kid's going to worship idols. And you see a lot of times the kids, by the way. How many times you find parents that are not religious, and the kid all of a sudden goes religious? You see it all the time. Or vice versa. Because religion has little to do with the house. Character, everything to do with the house. And if there's parents with bad character, you can bet your bottom dollar that it's going to be inherited into the kids. Now, does that mean the kid doesn't have free choice? Of course he does. And of course he could grow and get it out of him, but it'd be very difficult. And you're fighting an uphill battle. And Avraham Avinu would much rather a girl who has bad ideologies but good character than vice versa. For him, don't go to Canaan. Haran, it's fine. So that's another important hashkafa value when you're going out in Shidduchim, what to look for. Midot is number one, my friends. Many times, someone will call me about a boy. And it's sad because the first question they want to know, how's his learning? How's his learning? It's very unfortunate that that's the first question. Because that shouldn't be the first question, in my opinion. That shouldn't be the first question. How's his learning? What does it matter? He could be learning, but if he doesn't have good character, the learning, first of all, it's going to mean nothing. Derech eretz kadma la Torah. Remember, derech eretz, good midot, comes way before the Torah. Before learning, you have to be a good person. There's many people that they're learning, but if they're not refined, they're not working on themselves. Be religious. Who said it's going to last? To be a good husband, you don't need a good learner. You need a good person. And you can have the opposite, someone who's not learning, but if he's a good person, then you know they're going to do whatever they want to please their spouse. My friend married a guy much less than her. One of my students, she married a guy who was very below her. She settled for a guy who was Mechalel Shabbat and he didn't keep kosher. This is a girl who was dating guys and she wanted to wear a wig. And she ended up settling for very, very less. But one thing the guy had was good character. He was a very good person. And he wanted to do the right thing and he wanted to please her. And he was a good kid. And I saw a student a few months later. How's he doing? How's it going? She said, Rabbi, he's going to shul every day. He's praying every day with minyan. He wears tefillin every day. He started to keep a little bit of Shabbat. So when you marry someone that cares, that's good, they want to make you happy, that's really the only thing that really matters. On the other hand, you can marry a guy who's a good learner. If a guy is religious, but he's not growing, that learning may not even stay, by the way. Because he maybe got that because he grew up into that. And you have cases, unfortunately, where, a kid who's very religious, all of a sudden, married 2-3 years, and he drops it all, picks up very bad addictions, very bad habits. So, yes, it's important to ask, is he a learner? But the first question is, how's the kid? How's the character? How's the midot? That's number one, first and foremost. Are they refined? How's their anger? How's their patience? How's their kindness? Eliezer, what test does he do? Does he say, God, whoever has the longest wig, or the shortest wig? Whoever's skirt goes down to the floor dragging behind her? That's not what he does. Eliezer, notice, he doesn't make that test. It's interesting. He doesn't do a religious test. He does a character test. Who's going to be kind? That's what the Kli Yakar is saying here, my friends. Kli Yakar is saying more important than frum is mensch. He should be a good person. Story is told of Chaim Ozer Grzinski that is, and I may be messing up some of the details, I apologize. But when he was a kid, he was once giving a shiur. There's a little boy, Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, who wasn't a rabbi yet. And in the middle of the shiur, he asked this crazy question. Rav Chaim Ozer was very impressed from that day on with this little boy Yisrael. Many years later, Rav Chaim's granddaughter was going out on Shidduchim, and they recommended Rabbi Yisrael Salanter. I believe this is the details, and I apologize if I'm messing up the names heavily, I apologize. But I think these are the correct names. And they're going out, and the son of Rav Chaim says to his dad, I know that you remember when you were giving a shiur many years ago, this kid, Yisrael, he was a little kid, and you were very impressed from his learning. Should I let him go out with my daughter? And Rav Chaim responded to his son. Listen to what he wrote. He wrote back one sentence, one pasuk. Et biti natati leish hazeh. It's a pasuk in the Torah. Later on, I think in Devarim. I gave my daughter to this man. And he writes to his son. The only prerequisite the Torah wants is that he should be an ish. He should be a mensch. He should be a good person. If he's an ish, go for it. If he's not an ish, I don't care how smart he is. I don't care how crazy are his questions. I don't care how good his learning. If he's not an ish, lo shaveh, not worth it. Stay far away. Of course, he was an ish, and he was a mensch, and Salanter ended up marrying into that family. So these are some lessons, my friends, in dating. Again, a lot more to talk about. Every case is unique and individual. Of course, consult with your LOR, local Orthodox rabbi, or local Orthodox Shadchan, LOS. But either way, everybody, God bless. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Hashem should bless all of the singles with clarity. They should find the right one at the right time. Be'ezrat Hashem. We should have many marriages this year in Am Yisrael. Many marriages that stick. Shalom, Be'ezrat Hashem, for all of us, for all of Am Yisrael. Amen. Have a wonderful day. And God willing, we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.